You know, sometimes the most profound designs aren't sketched out in some fancy studio. Sometimes they're delivered in a single powerful moment. Today, we're going to decode a blueprint that was given on a mountaintop, these incredibly specific instructions for a sacred object. So let's dive in and break down this vision. So it all kicks off with a simple, direct command, a voice speaking with just absolute clarity. This isn't a suggestion, it's not a request. This is the start of a blueprint where every single word carries enormous weight. I want you to really picture this scene. We're on the peak of Mount Sinai, clouds swirling all around. There's a single man, Moses, who is getting, well, not just words, but a vision. An entire architectural plan is being transmitted, like, directly into his mind.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of this transmission. We're going to break it down instruction by instruction and build this thing together in our minds. And where do you always start a project? With the material, of course.
The very first choice is the material, acacia wood. Now, if you know anything about design, you know the choice of material is never, ever random. It dictates pretty much everything: the form, the function, how long it's going to last. So you got to ask, why this specific wood? Well, it turns out the choice is just brilliant, super practical. For a nomadic people out in the desert, acacia, or sitama, was the perfect material. It was right there, it was incredibly tough, and it was resistant to rut. This wasn't just any old wood. This was a material chosen for people on the move, something built to last the journey. All right, material, check. So next up, the vision moves to the object's actual form. The divine architect begins right where you'd expect, with the base, the fundamental geometry of the whole thing. But wait, hold on a sec. We need to understand the unit of measurement here, the cubit. It's an old-school human-scaled unit. Just think of the length of your forearm, from your elbow to your fingertip. So about 1.5 feet. With that in mind, now we can really start to visualize this thing taking shape. And the instructions are crystal clear. 1 cubit by 1 cubit. You can almost see it in your own mind's eye, right? A luminous line drawn in the air. And then another one at a perfect right angle, both the exact same length. The result? A perfect square. No ambiguity, no room for error, no close enough. The foundation is pure, it's simple, and it's geometrically balanced. Just a perfect starting point for whatever is going to rise up from it. Okay, so now the blueprint expands. We've got our 2-dimensional square on the ground, but now the vision moves into the 3rd dimension. We're about to give this altar its height and its real physical presence. The voice continues 2 cubits high. And you can just imagine it, from the corners of that square base, luminous lines just shooting straight up, defining its vertical form. And right here, proportion is everything. The altar is instructed to be exactly twice as tall as it is wide. So this doesn't create some squat, heavy block. Instead, you get this really elegant, slender form that just naturally draws your eye upward. The complete outline is now just hovering there, in the air or in the mind. A perfect rectangular pillar of light. The core structure is all there, fully visualized. But you know what? The most defining detail is still yet to come. And this is where the instructions get incredibly specific. This is where we move from simple construction to what you can only really describe as true artistry. The phrasing here is so precise. Of one piece with it. This might just be the most important detail in the entire blueprint. See, the horns aren't supposed to be added on. They have to be an extension of the object itself. This one instruction creates a huge design challenge. Added on is simple assembly, right? It's like you make a box, you make some horns, you attach them. But of one piece? That requires the horns to emerge from the very same block of wood as the altar itself. This just elevates the whole task from simple carpentry to sculpture. It demands a much higher level of artistry, where that detail has to be carved from the whole. The instruction itself implies a core principle. The entire structure has to be a single, unified entity. And with that final, masterful instruction, the blueprint is complete. A perfect project designed for a sacred purpose has been fully and completely described. So there it is, the divine blueprint in 4 steps. You start with a specific, durable material. You build on a perfectly square base, it rises up to an elegant height. And it's finished with its most defining feature, those horns, sculpted from the very same piece of wood.
You know what's so powerful about this? The economy of the language. There are no wasted words. Every single detail is essential, and it conveys a complete vision with this breathtaking precision and clarity.
And that really leaves us with a final question to think about. When a design is communicated with this level of detail, from the material to the proportions to the very method of its creation, what does that precision tell us about the intention behind it? What's the purpose of an object that has to be built not just correctly, but absolutely perfectly?